Sean Burch. Man, it is dude, I don't even know how to introduce you because you've done so many cool things. I don't even know where to start as far as to give you a title for the podcast. Man, I've been excited to talk with you, and I've been following your story and a lot of your accomplishments and what you're doing in the world right now. And so, brother, just I can't say thank you enough for coming on the podcast today.
No, man, I appreciate it, brother. Again, we were talking about earlier, and I love what you do. I love what you're trying to do. I love you interviewing all these great authors and their books, and we need to get that out there more. That guys need to read more. Stop looking at their phones and start
Yeah.
reading some books. It makes a difference in everything you do and how you perform, both mentally, physically, everything you do. It starts and ends with the books, man. I've been reading a lot of books since I was a kid and continue to do so. So I'm happy to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, man, I think these conversations go a long way in helping, I don't know, encourage, motivate guys to pick up books and read more, seeing individuals like yourself, scaling mountains, coaching business leaders, focusing on your fitness and knowledge gaining. And I just think young guys, having someone like yourself to look up to and understand how important reading is to you, will motivate them to maybe take that same path and say, hey, if that guy's doing all these amazing things and he believes in reading, well, maybe I need to read too. So, man, that's why I love these conversations. I think it's very motivating to a lot of guys, myself included. I like reading, but I've got some things to do to catch up to your level. So just these conversations are motivating to me as well. I haven't climbed a mountain yet.
Hey, you're never too old to start, my friend. Anytime you want some advice on that, I'm happy to give it. I'm always trying to get people out in nature. You find a little bit more about yourself, and in some cases, a lot more about yourself. And if you put yourself out there, get yourself uncomfortable, I think that there's nothing that you cannot strive to achieve that I think that is possible. And that's what I'm trying to do. I think if you look at my resume, I just am trying to get every little ounce of life out of it while we're here. And believe we're also fortunate to just be alive in this position. So to get much as you can out of it is the goal.
Yeah. Well, tell your story a little bit, 'cause we'll get into your book. You've got a couple books out now, and then your latest one, Sweatworking, I think's awesome because I'm a big. It's funny. My wife is probably I don't know. She keeps us in line from a fitness standpoint. We're both former athletes, but we both work from home, and the amount of time she's like, "We got to go for a walk. We got to go lift now. We got to go do this. We got to get to the sauna." So big believers in fitness, and we hope that it rubs off to the people we work with. They're always asking us questions on what we're eating and what we're doing. And so obviously big fan of what you believe in that regard as well. But man, tell your story just a little bit. I was reading your grandpa told you to live your life. You had some things that you were afraid of. You definitely, if we would have seen Sean in his young 20s, I don't know if anyone would have thought you would have done everything that you've done by this point, based off what you had said. Again, being fearful of certain things, not doing a whole lot. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, it sounded like your grandpa told you to live life, and boy, did you, and have you. But just kind of share a little bit of that background in your story.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my grandfather was a big influence in my life. He was a World War II veteran. He spoke 4 languages. He traveled the world when a lot of people, back then you didn't travel the world unless you were in the army, but he had traveled a lot. He'd been up to the Arctic Circle before even World War II happened. And so I was real close to him. I looked up to him, and on his deathbed, he was always active, and kind of didn't lose his mind, but he had lost his body. Like he couldn't even walk his dog, and I could tell it was really upsetting him. So the last conversation we had, we were talking about that and going through his life. I was trying to record his life, what he had done and things, and he just sat down and says, "Listen, man, I don't want what happened to me to happen to you." And I didn't get that concept because I thought he had done everything. And he was like, "No, man, there's so many goals and dreams I wish I could have done, and I will know I'll never be able to do it. And I don't want that to happen to you." And I really didn't get it until he died. And I was up on the pulpit, talking about my grandfather and just crying my eyes out. And then I was like, you know what? He's right. I just decided, I had a Norwegian girlfriend. I had a house with a white picket fence, and I had a good job. I was traveling a lot. but there were all these goals that were inside of me that I was just like, I have to try this. Life is
Yeah.
too precious. So I had this goal of climbing Everest and doing it on my own, right? No guides, no help in that regard. And so I just said, hey, the time is now. And I live in Virginia, Northern Virginia, a lifelong Virginian, and there's not too many high altitude peaks out here. So, no one believed in the sense that I could do that. I was already training in fitness, already teaching, I was already teaching martial arts. I've been teaching martial arts since I was 18. So people knew the type of mental, I guess, the attitude I had mentally about achieving a goal. But I can tell people were kind of like, all right, yeah, okay. Everest, it's kind of a big goal. But I was like, all right, good. I love proving people wrong. It's not the end goal, but my goal is to grow as a human being. So it kind of just evolved from there. I climbed peaks and found out I was really good at it, high altitude peaks, and then it just evolved from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it became a passion for you because you've done it all over the world now. I mean, you've broken records, the first Virginian to scale Mount Everest, so that's a really cool accomplishment to do, and now you've climbed all over the world. I mean, what's the feeling like? Like, what's it? Is it like a Super Bowl or when you accomplish it? Like, just what is it? Because to be honest, I'm not much of a hiker. I love the water, so I'm more of a water guy. My wife drags me out on these short 5 mile hikes with the dog. But like, what's it feel like when you get to the top of these peaks?
Well, it's when you climb an eight. I've climbed two 8,000 meter peaks. When you climb those, um, with no supplemental oxygen, it's not glorious at all. It's painful. It sucks. And I climbed Everest back in 2003, so a long time ago. Now it's kind of it's uh it's a shit show, I believe. I'm not a big believer in what's happened to Everest. It's kind of taken the mountaineering out of mountaineering on
Yeah,
that. It's all about, hey, look what I can do, look what I can post. And back
yeah,
then, when I climbed it, it wasn't that way at all for me. And people were starting to climb that mountain that I could see had that type of attitude where they just, they had Sherpas dragging them up the mountain, and all they cared about doing is coming home and telling their buddies. But for me, it was all about the journey of, could I do this? Could I become achieve this dream that I set for myself only 4 years beforehand? The climbing 8,000 meter peaks wasn't too great. It's nice to afterwards. It's great to look back on and say, okay, I accomplished something. But I get much more passionate out of climbing first ascents. Climbed 140 first ascents around the world, and that to me is, I knew as soon as I climbed Everest, I was like, I never want to do something like this again, where I'm just waiting for climbers to climb up, climb down. I almost died on the way down just because I was waiting for climbers who were obviously
yeah,
hypoxic and they didn't know what they were doing. And their Sherpa had to drag them down, and there was only one way down, the Hillary step. So I decided, hey, I'm going to start doing first ascents, which are mountains that have never been climbed before.
yeah,
To me, is the utmost connection with nature, where you're at a place on top of a mountain that no one's ever been. That to me is the ultimate
yeah,
high I've ever experienced. Nothing compares to it except for the birth of my son. That I just enjoy that so much, of being in an area and say, no one has ever seen this view from where I've been.
yeah.
And that keeps me motivated, there's many more peaks out there, and I just hope and be fortunate enough to go out there and climb some more of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you seem like and you hear this from, like, high performing individuals, high performing athletes, people who are chasing and accomplishing things like you. It is more about the work and the journey more than when you finish it. Like, it's great that you finished it because then you realize, "Hey, I put in the work needed and necessary to get to where I wanted to be and what I wanted to accomplish, but now what's next? Like, that's done. So I've accomplished that. I've got to, what's the next challenge? What can I work towards? And so it's really cool that you've got these peaks kind of targeted where you're like, hey, I've done that, I've done that. Where has nobody gone? What has nobody done? What can I do to work towards, putting my name on the first to ever do that? So I love that about people, and again, following high level individuals and just kind of understanding it's about the work. It's not really about the end prize. It's about what you put in to accomplish it. So I just like hearing that because I'm kind of the same way. It's cool when you do something, but it's like, all right, it was more the work was what was enjoyable about it. What do we do next?
Yeah, I mean, I got asked for the past 15, 20 years, what's your favorite expedition? I think I've been asked that almost every single time. And for the longest time, I didn't know, because every expedition you learn something. Every world record I've done, I've been fortunate to do. I've learned something through that. But it really, like 2 years ago, I was thinking, it was Everest, because it was interesting. After I got back from Mount Everest, I thought I could just live my life, right? And that would make me happy. And it didn't. It didn't solve anything. I was like, well, if I could do this, can I go to the North Pole and run a marathon? And then when I went there and won the race and broke a world record, well, I was like, well, can I climb up? Can I run up Kilimanjaro faster than anybody? So it was all these physical goals and stuff like that. But I learned, it's the internal journey, man. If you're not happy within yourself, then all this other stuff, whether it's breaking records or whether it's getting a new job or whether it's moving to a new city because you're just looking to change things, you've got to be internally happy. And I think some of the times during that period in my life, didn't feel content and more complete and more happy. And I think once I started narrowing that down and continue to work on it until this day, that's why, when I tell you every day is a Saturday, that's why I try to live my life. Every day is a gift. Every day is a Saturday. So you don't know what's gonna happen to you today. You don't know what's gonna happen to you tomorrow, but you got to treat every day as a gift. Whatever happens and that occurs. So that's one of the big takeaways I learned from nature is that, and that's why I love
Yeah.
nature and getting out in nature so much, because it's a great teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that, man. Agree with everything you say. That's incredible. It's such a joy talking to people that have that outlook. Like, hey, we're gonna maximize today. We're gonna make this every day's a Saturday. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm blessed. And it just changes life in a lot of ways. But no, Sean,
Yeah.
switching to your book, obviously Sweatworking is your latest work. So, man, what was the motivation behind writing it?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been writing another book for Gen X, for the Gen X generation, which I'm still working
Huh?
on. But I was like a couple years ago, I think it was Men's Health or some magazine. I saw this article on a concept called sweatworking, and I'm like, "Oh, what the hell is this?" And I started reading about it. I'm like, oh, I've been doing that for years,
Yeah.
teaching business and teaching my fitness classes, around the country and stuff. And when I went to China, I was teaching this. I was like, they have a concept for this. It's called sweatworking. I was like, I've been doing it all along. So then I thought, well, hell, let's try to create the guide
Hmm.
on how to create a new professional relationships through wellness, but try to do it with companies and societies that to perceive health and wellness in the workplace, and
Yeah.
try to redefine what leadership looks like in the business. So it kind of it started from there, and then I just started writing, and it took me about a year and a half of straight writing of constant every single day. But that's where it started was, okay, well, they have a word for it, but I've been doing it for a long time, and I think hopefully I can change how people perceive business as it relates to health and wellness in the workplace.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, I've been noticing again, I'm in Nashville. I know there's like a new sauna place in town where it's kind of dubbed as a networking sauna, a big room where you can go and have a conversation, talk with other leaders. I was telling someone the other day, I'm in sales for a technology company, and I was looking back as I was going through my biggest accounts, and they all came from relationships I made at the gym, of all places, a CrossFit gym. But there's a correlation there of people wanting to better themselves, wanting to maximize their health and be at the peak of their performance, both in business and fitness. And so you just see a lot of these, I don't know, these things, like you said, these sweat working type of businesses come up, and you're like, dude, I got a blueprint for that. I've been doing that. So it's pretty cool. But what do you, when you go in and talk with companies or individuals about this specific topic, what are some of the things you share with them, and how to maximize doing sweat working?
Well, the first thing I try to convince them is taking care of your people is good business. And to me, it's it's a no-brainer. But with many executives, um, I haven't seen that done. I've seen it as a kind of a fake thing. It's like, oh, we got to do this because we're supposed to do this, but they really don't believe in it. So when I first start training executive or leaders, when I'm speaking to them, the first things we cover is, take care of your employees, be
Yeah.
accountable, and how much wellness can really, at the bottom line, help you build the company and be
Yeah.
successful. So it really just starts to convince them that that's the most important thing. I think that's one of the reasons why, well, it is the main reason why the first thing I write about in my book is your moral code. What is your moral code? A lot of people, when I ask them that, they don't know how to answer. It's the same thing as what goals do you have for yourself, not for your company or whatever in the next 1 or 2 years. In order to start every meaningful transformation, whether it's in life, whether it's in wellness, professional relationship, lies in your moral code. That is number one. What is your moral code? And if you don't have one, I'm always like, you better get one
Hmm.
and stick by it. I think it's kind of gone by the wayside. And it's evident from what's going on, I think, in this country, how divided we are, which is complete BS. We shouldn't be.
Yep.
This is America. When I used to climb along, a while ago, people would look up, oh my God, you're from America. Great, great, great. Now it's like you almost have to apologize because people look at us like we're a joke.
I know.
And we're not. We're the best country in this world, I believe. We've got to start acting that way. So, yes, I know money is important, but the most important thing is your moral code. And then from there, we start working on the various things that they need to get in place. Accountability, like I said, overcoming fears. How do you do that? How do you work with your company on that? Visualizations, just the importance of trying to get at the very start. Let's say if you're trying to start sweatworking, how do you go about doing that? And that's what the book does. We start from the very basic all the way up through all these things. That's why I talk about, how to pitch to your corporate brass if you're interested in doing it, but you're not an exec leader, how to go about doing that. How do you start your first session, how to promote it, how to brand it, the importance of walking, just starting with walking, how to beat boredom when you're active, right? Oh, exercise is so boring. Well, you've got to change that concept. This has got to become to as natural as just brushing your teeth every single day. How
Yep.
important positivity is, how it affects your brain, how to time management, the science behind sweat, why sweating is good for you. As you just said when you were talking about, going in the sauna, how that really helps you. I talk
Yep.
about mindfulness. That changed my whole concept on how to train my brain. Breathing techniques, how to fight anxiety and stress, how much sweat working can help that. And again, if you have a good employee who, at the end of the line that, they want to feel like they're valued, and they're not feel valued, they're going to walk. I just wrote about that in my LinkedIn article yesterday. People will walk. You want retention. You want people caring about the company.
Yep.
Let's get people caring about their work, themselves, and their lives. And when you have some type of leaders that I come across that, trying to make them fearful and trying to push them into doing things that they don't want to do, that's only going to last so long before they say, you know what, I don't need this crap.
Yep.
I wouldn't.
Yep.
That's why I decided to do stuff on my own, was the fact that, hey, you know what, I want to make sure I'm living the life I need to live.
Yeah.
And so we go into all that. It's like the idea of the book is the blueprint. You want to learn how to do this for your company or for yourself? It's all there, man. I give every little bit, and I put some stories in there from my expeditions and some of the stuff I've done when I was in China and when I was leading wellness classes there, to hopefully will get people motivated, because at the end of the day, I definitely put some motivational chapters in there just to get you pumped up and get you motivated
Yeah.
to start doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this. Yeah, I heard the new term like work-life integration, and there needs to be another one that involves health and work and that integration as well, because we're all, especially like individuals that work remote, there's so much. It's hard to turn off work, but how can I integrate being active and healthy within all of that too? And then, you're almost talking about building that camaraderie and that team kind of feeling within an organization. As a former athlete, I think about that of when things kind of suck, but when we're all doing it together, it becomes a lot better actually when we're working towards something. And maybe in this case, it's being more healthy and more together. But I'm sitting here thinking, I mean, I work with so many companies. There's one I follow, and they do team things like this. They do like team tough mutters as a organization, and you can see them all like helping each other out, and it's just something they've started including their partners with it. And I'm like, dude, tag us in, man, we'll get a team together. Seeing companies incorporate that stuff, you can just see I don't know, I keep using the word camaraderie, but like the buy-in that they have and the culture that they build by doing tough stuff together. It sounds like you kind of push for the same thing of similar.
Yeah, I mean, that's you're that's sweat working right there. I mean, that's the perfect thing. And I see, of course, is again, this is sweat working is not something that I created. It's been out there for years. But the idea is I want every company to be doing this, not just some companies, and doing it for the right reasons, not just to promote it so they can do blurbs. I want it to be something that's integrated into the companies, small companies, large companies, at least doing some type of wellness. And I'm not, a small company can't do fitness programs. They might be able to afford to do free gym memberships, but they can maybe do walking walking meetings, something that just gets them out and gets them moving at the same time doing business within that realm. I think is what the goal of it is, because I've seen, again, companies do it, but I want all companies doing it. There's no reason why they shouldn't be doing that. That's why, I dedicated my book is I said, for those who live by the mantra, your health is your wealth. And that
Yep.
is, to me, the essence of the whole thing right there. Yes, I've got a lot of money, but I feel like shit. I can't do what I want to do in life. You can't be a good father, you can't be a good mother, you can't be a good partner, you can't be a good business associate if you're not healthy. So you have to have that. Your health is your wealth. It's the number one thing that you should be focusing on. And if you do that, everything else I think will start coming down the line. And if
Yeah.
you're healthy, yes, you might be able to get that new job where you get more pay. Or if you're healthy, you might be able to be a better partner to your spouse, and be a better father or mother to your kids, and you're just in better shape. I mean, to me, as you know, it's a no brainer. But I also get the fact that, hey, it's tough out there, especially now. So, the idea of we can get these companies, every company doing at least something towards
Yeah.
building the wellness of their employees, I think it's just a step forward in creating better human beings, which is the goal.
Yeah. Yeah, and even from if you're thinking about monetary growth and the bottom line, healthier people with more energy produces more results, if you wanna look at it that way too. Like, there's so many reasons to focus on being healthy in that space, but Sean, for someone as active as you, so being physically active, high energy, is it tough to sit down and write a book? Or are you motivated enough to share the purpose that it's okay and easy for you to sit down and spend that time to put that pen to paper?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the goal of every human being, is not to, well, at least I think for most people, I don't like wasting time. I value my time so preciously. So it's not tough to write, in a sense. What's tough is if I'm writing and then suddenly I'm like, oh yeah, I wanna check this on YouTube, and then I go down a rabbit hole for YouTube, fucking a half hour on whatever, Eddie Van Halen, or early days of Van Halen or something like that. I'm like, what am I doing? I got to
Yep, then you get
focus
pissed
on the
off.
book. So, yes. So that's the thing, is keeping focus. But I have, the idea is, what do I want to do this? What kind of legacy am I creating for myself and for my family, for my kid? And that's the motivation. Am I wasting time, or am I producing something I think that can help other people and that is of value to
Yeah.
them, and also, of course, to me and what I'm doing every day? It's of course it's always tough to get motivated. You can't be upbeat every single day. I'm not that way. I'm always working on training my mind. I do, I meditate every single day, practice mindfulness every single day, because I need to do that. If I don't, I get lost in myself and my mind, and I need to stay focused on what I'm doing, because it matters to me.
Yeah. Do you ever find, obviously meditation, exercising, having things every day that you do to optimize and feel your best. Do you ever feel stressed to get certain things done each day? Like I was talking about, like my wife and I, we walk, we work out, we go to the sauna. I've got a goal professionally to do so many reach outs, with Books4Guys. I want to accomplish this every day. And obviously I'm motivated to do that. But do you ever find certain days to where it's tough to where you're like if I don't work out today, how am I, is that a bad thing, or is it okay to like rebalance and recalibrate each day a little bit differently if there's something that's, do you get what I'm asking? Like, do you ever just feel overwhelmed, I guess, by everything you're trying to balance?
Yeah, I get overwhelmed all the time.
Okay. It's refreshing
That's
to
why I
know.
think that's why Yeah, that's why wellness and sweat work, that's why it helps so much, because everyone I think gets overwhelmed. You know, there's a reason why I work out for a couple hours a day. There's a reason why I walk after eat every meal, and and do my business calls while I'm walking, because I've got to stay active, because I know for my mental health I need that.
Yeah.
I'm not good in complacency, in the sense that, I don't have to be doing something every little bit. When I'm working on my film work and stuff, I like to sit down and say, okay, from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I'm going to watch a new film or watch a new documentary, and then from 10 o'clock, I read for another hour. Um, that I'm definitely good with routine, and I need that. But I also know that routine can be the downfall, where you get complacent. So it's balancing that fine line between being routine and still being able to get yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That uncomfortability is getting you still productive in what you think needs to be done in your daily life.
Cool. No, it's just refreshing to know that even even high level performers have a little bit of a feeling of being overwhelmed sometimes. Like yesterday, I was taking the dog for a walk during lunch, and I was like, I got so much to do, but I need to go walk. He needs to walk. But it was refreshing when I got back. I felt a lot better looking at the trees, putting the phone down, leaving it at home. But when you've got a lot that you're driven to do, I can see where sometimes that's a little bit of a struggle. Like I need to go to the sauna, but I also need to reach out to this person, as I might, you think you might not have a chance to connect again. But again, what health is the most important. And my wife does a good job of keeping me in line there. She'll be like, no, no, buddy, time to shut the computer. We gotta go. So I'm thankful
Well,
for her.
well, you're very lucky. You've got someone to help motivate you. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm single. It's self motivation is tough, and to
Yeah.
have someone like your wife there to keep you in line in some instances, that's great. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get with Sweatworking, is have these leaders be that type of guy to say, hey, I know we're having a tough day, but trust me, this will make you even more productive. Let's go out for a walk and just talk, for 20, 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And how much that can help the workplace when you get back. Like you were saying, you had so much stuff on your plate, but hey, walking the dog, getting outside, your health is your wealth. And just know the fact, to me, is always like, yeah, you say that, but I don't have time. Just know that will help you. Please
Yeah.
just do that alone will help you in your life and everything else you do. And if people can get that in their mindset, and kind of get off this, again, that's why I talk about time management in the book, is the fact
Yeah.
that if you can do that, it will open up everything in your other aspects of your life. And I
Yeah.
know it's tough, and I know it's a tough concept for some people to grasp and to integrate that into their lives, because I've heard it before, doing workshops. People just like, I don't have enough time. I give
Yeah.
them all these little, these answers up. They're like, nah. I mean, they're just setting their mind. No, I don't have enough time. You don't understand, and you can't reach them. You can't get across that. So I'm hoping, like, hey, maybe this book will be the answer, where you get a couple concepts from it that you can integrate into the workplace, that makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, there it's gonna help. It's gonna make a difference. Your book is going to help turn around some things and motivate people, and it's gonna have an impact on people. There's no doubt about that. Sean, I got one last question for you, because on your website you have a list of books that you're reading and what you've read. And I always ask people, when people ask you for a recommendation, what's a book that's had a big impact on you personally that you like to share with others?
Well, man, there's a couple. The Power of Now is huge. And
Mhm.
my ultimate favorite book of all time is The Untethered Soul. I read that every day, just little blurbs from it. And how it gets you thinking, well, unthinking, per se, is tremendous. But those are like my ones that like my Bibles for me, and let alone,
Yeah.
I do read the Bible every night. I read passages from the Bible. I don't consider myself, again, over religious, but I'm very spiritual in that sense, and know the value of how lucky we are to be on this earth. So I'm always trying to integrate some of those concepts into my life, because I know it helps me in a lot of ways. But the books, yeah, the books I have actually on my website are just ones that I'm reading. I just read a book called Stoner by John Williams that came out in the 1960s. Really good
Okay.
existential type of inner looking. I don't know if you read that, but it's a really, really good book.
Yeah.
I just read, I'm usually reading 3 books at different times. I read A Marriage at Sea, which was like a bestseller. That's a really good book on a partnership that they end up being 117 days out in the Pacific Ocean. That's a
Wow.
really good book. So I'm always, as you probably know, as you read so many books, you forget, like, did I even read that? Because I'd have this check
Yeah.
back, like, oh, I read this book 2 years ago. But but the Untethered Soul and The Power of Now are kind of books that I go back to time and time again, just to keep my mind and my mental strength there, and how I process life as a human being.
Yeah. Love that. I haven't read any of those, so they'll be added to my list. I've got this running list. I'm like, man, I don't know, I need a year of just workout, read, workout, read, workout, read. Like, let's just keep it to that. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
do that one
I'm
year.
with you. I'm with you. I'm the same way. It's. I think everyone who has reads a lot, like my mother reads a lot. And we're always like, oh, you got like 8 books just stacked up. I'm like, yeah, we can.
Kidding.
There's always something else. But you let me know about you read the Power of Now, Untethered Soul, and let me know how that. I mean, I guarantee it, man. It will change. It will change the way you think in a positive way, and it will change the way you look at life. And to me, that's an ultimate book. Is it makes you think afterwards and makes you continually think and make you think, okay, how am I spending my day? Am I being the best human being I can possibly be in that sense? And am I doing the most I need to do? But I guarantee it. But I'm anxious to see what you think of at least those 2 books, because like I said, those are the 2 biggest influences in my life, or that have been the most impact in my life, have been those, of course. And of course, my own books, writing those books played a huge impact on my own.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Well, I'll move them to the top of my list then. I'll try to knock them out this year and let you know what I think.
Beautiful.
Usually people get recommendations. They're like, yeah, you should read it. You're like, dude, you got to read it. Tell me what you think. So I'll just move it on up the list and knock those out. But Sean,
Cool.
man, can't wait to thank you again for your support. We've got Sweatworking as the book of the week on Books4Guys, so go check it out. Can't wait to see your next book. Now that you've already hinted that you're working on another one, we'll have to do another conversation when that one comes out, and we can deep dive in there. But man, Sean, keep doing what you're doing. Keep motivating people. Keep doing your work. Keep making a positive difference. And I can't wait to just continue to follow what you do and what you accomplish, and just see the impact that you have on people.
I really appreciate that, brother. And the same goes to you. I love what you do. You just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll try our best. That's all you can do. Every day's a Saturday.
Every
Just
day's a
keep thinking
Saturday.
that.
Every day's a Saturday, baby. Well, I appreciate it, Sean.
You got it, brother.